Okay, we're up to week 12. Vikings hosting the Bears tomorrow night at the Purple Palace, Monday Night Football. The end of Thanksgiving week. And this is this is a big game, and they're all big. You got this is the most must win probably of the rest of the games on the schedule because you can't slip up and lose this game. So this has been a pretty good week for the Vikings so far before we've even taken the field. On Thanksgiving, the fraudulent Lions. Hi, Lions fans who still show up in the comments on videos. The fraud Lions, the media darlings who are still treated as media darlings, and no one ever says a bad thing about any of their performances. They got handled by the Packers. A week after making Justin Fields look good, they made Jordan Love look like a superstar. It was only a 7-point game, but I was able to watch basically the entire second half. That was basically a blowout. Um, Probably isn't going to help us still for the division. That I'm going to curse last week for the rest of the season because if the Vikings had held on against Denver and if the Bears had held on against the Lions, and I don't know what the win probability was in those two games, but I bet it was in the 90s. The Vikings would be playing to move into first place tomorrow night. But it's not how it's going to work. So we'll be playing to basically get back to where we were going into last week. But we will be playing for the possibility to kind of, everyone hates the phrase control your own destiny because it ain't destiny if you can control it. But, they'll be playing to get back into that position where they could, keep pace and beat the Lions twice, and you're in with the division title. I'm not really going into the division race anymore until it's really realistic. Like I think we're listed as like having like about a 20% chance for the division, and that sounds about right. I'm sure that would go up if we win tomorrow night, but you know, until it's basically we're on the doorstep, I don't want to get into that. So, but wild card race, some things are also going pretty good. People are freaking out that the Packers are coming. Well, they're really not. I mean, they won a game against the Chargers because the Chargers couldn't catch a ball, and then they beat the fraud Lions. So I'm not too worried about the Packers, although they might get in the playoffs because Seattle is the team that's kind of fallen apart. Seattle got blown out at home by the 49ers on Thanksgiving night, which means the Vikings are the 6th seed right now. So we're not even worried about we're not even the first team, that's going to be caught by one of these teams if it happens. Seattle's got a lot more to worry about because they have a very tough schedule the rest of the way. But in the wild card race, like this has been a good day already. Like Sunday, I'm doing this Sunday afternoon. Tampa lost. That's good. Atlanta beat New Orleans, which I guess you could say either way. It's okay. Just drop as many losses, on those South teams. Although someone was going to have to lose that game, but we have tiebreakers on those two teams. So, and Washington, lost also on Thanksgiving. They're just falling. They're out of it. They're not even going to be relevant the rest of the way. I think the Rams are winning right now, so they would be potentially just a game back. But look, just keep doing your. The Vikings got to keep doing their thing, and they'll be fine. And going into this game, I really thought after the way they lost after losing last week, I really thought they were gonna for sure have Justin Jefferson out there. But it sounds like they're gonna put him on ice right through the bye. Now you should be able to beat the Bears without Justin Jefferson. I mean, they already did once. You should be able to beat him without JJ. Obviously, there was a big story this week that Justin Jefferson had to deactivate all of his social media because he's got the fantasy nerds out there getting mad at him for not playing. First of all, if you care, if you're playing fantasy football, you're whatever. I grew tired of fantasy football 15 years ago. I haven't played it in ages. But if you're that obsessive about your fantasy football team that you're sending out like hate messages to a player because he's hurt and he's not hurrying back to help your fucking fantasy team, who gives a shit about your fantasy team? Drop dead. I hope your fantasy. I hope everybody who had Justin Jefferson drafted and gets mad about him being hurt. I hope you lose every fucking week. You fucking degenerates. Um, but it's probably gonna be no JJ again. Um, Evans Evans might be out again. He's questionable. But health wise, we're doing a little better. We're gonna have healthy quarterbacks. We're not gonna have to worry about Sean Mannion, which is fantastic. Um, we don't have to worry about Sean Mannion at all anymore because Jaron Hall's out of concussion protocol, and Nick Mullins is off IR and he's ready to go. So we're gonna have three guys, three healthy quarterbacks who you can feel pretty good about. There's some mystery about who's going to be considered QB2. I would think they're going to go with Jaron Hall with that, and have Mullins as more your like emergency guy. Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll see if Dobbs can bounce back. He didn't have like a terrible game last week. It was just a mediocre game. I think KOC didn't do much to help him with a lot of the play calling. We'll see if they get back to that this week. Although I think I saw Denver's beating up on the Browns at the moment, so Denver's not losing to Denver. That's not looking like a shameful loss by any means. Of course, at the moment as I'm doing this, the Chiefs are losing to the Raiders, and we got to play the Raiders after the bye, so that game might not be looking too easy. Meanwhile, the Bengals they look like they're falling apart. So we'll worry about the upcoming schedule after this one. Got to beat the Bears first. This is a must. It's a division game. You certainly have to win your division games to come back in the division. Got to beat the Bears. It's a conference game. Got to keep winning those games to help keep your tiebreaker situation good. And I think the Vikings will win this game. It'll be close because that's what we do. We never put teams away. It'll be Justin Fields. I mean, we played Bagent most of the game. When we played him the last time, Fields got knocked out, I think, in the first half of that game. So it's mostly Bagent. And look, Justin Fields can be dangerous. He can make some plays. He's played okay since he's been back now. Some of that was against the fraud line defense, but you gotta watch out. Defense last week played very, very well till the very last drive, unfortunately. But I think they'll be able to do pretty well. I think the offense will bounce back a little bit. Um, you know, we handled the Bears okay the last time. It was one of those ugly Soldier Field games, and everyone got all mad that it was an ugly Soldier Field game. But I think the Vikings will they'll handle their business basically. Like, I think this will be in a 27-20 type of game or something like that. I think they'll do all right. Hopefully, if we lose, we're never wearing these damn throwback jerseys again. They're bringing out the throwbacks that they had in week 1 where we lost. If we lose again in these throwbacks, we're never doing them again. Yeah, I think the Vikings will win this game. We'll go into the bye 7-5, and what's our? I think we're listed for like 20% to win the division. We're listed at like 70% to get in the playoffs. That might have already gone up with a couple of other results this week, and obviously I'm sure it would go up some more win tomorrow night. Just got to keep handling our business. I think we will. I think we'll get it done. This would be a very bad loss if they lose this game. It ain't the end of the world because they'd still be in a playoff position, but you'd have a couple teams right behind you, and you'd be coming off 2 straight losses and going into a bye, and then having a couple road games, which you know are very winnable, but you never know. And then you still have those 2 games against Detroit at the end, and home against the Packers. That's why I'm not worried about the Packers, because we already beat them in Green Bay, and then we still get them at home. But you can't kick away. This would be a really, really bad loss, and unfortunately, that means all the pressure's on the Vikings. But I think they'll do fine. They will win, and I've gone 10 minutes on a game that I think should be a pretty simple win. So yeah, 27-20 Vikings, and then we get to the bye, and we can all rest for a couple weeks.